Hi guys, it's Eileen from Now There's a Crafty Idea, and I've come with the first of our tutorials for the Ladybird junk journal series. And so I've decided to use this book for the tutorials. I was going to use the Beauty and the Beast one, but I love this book. This was one of my favourites when I was a kid. And in fact, I'm pretty sure this book may well have been one of the very same book that I had. So yeah, and the imagery in it is quite beautiful. So this is going to be our one that we're going to use. Okay, so first of all, let's see. To prepare the book itself, I would generally go over it with a rubber very gently, just to remove any marks. There's a little tiny bit, you can't really see it, but there's a tiny little bit of mark there, and then there's some aged marks, some patina on it. It's from the 60s. It's been well loved. You can see it's kind of fallen apart, so I wouldn't even try to remove the patina on it, because I think that just adds to the vintage look and to the overall look that you want with a junk journal, especially one that's made from a vintage book, because what's the point of using vintage books if you don't want the patina on them? We could all just use new ones. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just ease along the spine. This one's going to come off in two pieces because the spine's already been broken. So that's one side, and we'll just get the rest of the signatures out. Just gently. You'll find these books come apart pretty easily. There's all your signatures in there. And there generally are, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 different signatures in this book alone. So yeah, we're going to deal with those in another video. For today, we're dealing with our cover. So we're left with this, the 2 pieces of the cover. I'm going to just neaten it up just a little bit, but I'm not going to cut off any more of the paper. Now, some people, when they're using old books for journal covers, they will cut it back to this. You can see there's like a ledge there where the backboard that the book's made out of ends, and this bit here is just paper. The thing is, this paper is usually quite strong because it's been holding the book together all these years, so I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to use that as kind of part of our hinge, so that's going to be part of that. And then this side, I'm just going to quickly pull this off. Now this I'm not going to get rid of. It's only a tiny little scrap, yeah, but it does have the name of the book, and it's original, and it's got the patina that I was talking about on, and I'll probably use that in some sort of ephemera that I make, you know, and it'll come in handy. Plus, you know, you junk journalists, we're all terrible at getting rid of things and I have just the biggest pile of stuff. You know, you think to yourself, it's gonna come in handy. That I can use that for something. Yeah, biggest lie we tell ourselves. But it's not really though, is it, with junk journaling, because everything can be reused. I'm just going to tidy this edge up a little bit. There we go. Right, now let's see. What we want is a spine. Now what I've done with this, I've made the spine, this one might be just slightly bigger. See, it's just a hair's breadth bigger. I'm just going to take a little hair's breadth off there. There we go. And then, yeah. So what I've done is I've just took 2 pieces of card and I've laminated them together to give me a nice thick card. And it does still have some give in it, but it's sturdy. You can use chipboard if you want the really thick stuff. It doesn't really make that much difference. It's just I prefer this because it's easier to put your signatures into, and it's inexpensive. You can use card from just about anything. Now normally you would leave a little gap for your signature, but because we've left this little edge of paper on, I don't need to do that, because it's going to give me the give that I need without having to have the gap. Now washi tape is ideal. I'm not going to try and hold the book together with washi tape, so don't panic. All I'm doing is I'm using it for placement, because I don't want this moving about while I'm gluing it. And once I've got it where I want it to stay there, so that I'm not faffing about trying to put it back together in that. So just a little bit of washi, doesn't have to be loads, and it will give you a little bit of grip as well. See, that's going to just keep it together. I'm not going to bother putting any on this side because that's going to keep it together, no problem. So I'm just going to check to see if we're all level, and we are. Yeah, everything's lined up, that's perfect. Great. Now the fabric I've chosen for this one is this lovely fabric. I wish I could tell you where I got it from. I've been collecting my stash now for 30 years and I've got things from all over, from so many times ago, and a lot of the stuff I use is just, it's going to be stuff that I found in my cupboard. So this, I thought, it's quite whimsical, and I like the pink in it, and when you look at the signature from this, there's a lot of rich colours in here. You can see like the satiny sheen that they've put onto the actual images, and then a lot of the colours that are in here are actually on this fabric, and I wanted that to like kind of coordinate. Isn't that beautiful? And yeah, so I'm going to use something that's going to kind of coordinate, but it's a personal choice, it's up to you, whatever you want to use. Now, I don't really want to cut off the Cinderella, but I want to have enough grip so that it's not going to fall off. So I'm just feeling with my finger and feel where the paper is. I'm going to come over that C just a little bit. Yep. And then this one's obviously going to go a bit further over, because it doesn't matter about this on the back. You could even cover that up with collage or something if you wanted to. So I'm going to put a little mark, top and bottom. It's going to be underneath the fabric, so you're not going to see it, so don't worry about it. And it's just going to let me know where to go with my glue. Little bits of string in that, and that's that. So I'm using Fabri-Tac for two reasons. One, Fabri-Tac is great with fabric, obviously, and you don't get, it doesn't show through the fabric, so you don't get those gluey, oily marks on the fabric. But two, because this is a really strong glue, a strong adhesive, without it being too harsh on the papers. These vintage papers, very often you can get some bleed through with certain glues. I know PVA is great, but sometimes it does make them bleed because of the water content in it. So I tend to use Fabri-Tac when I'm making these journals. So let's start with our glue. Now we're going to use two signatures in this, so I don't want to glue this whole part. So I'm going to start with just a line down the middle, because I know there's not going to be a signature in the middle. Look at my squiggly lines. And then I'm going to come up here, trying to keep as close as I can to that line that I've made, because I don't want to go too far over, and then up the back. And if I need to put any more glue down there, I can. So I'm going to do a line here, and that's going to keep the fabric attached to the back part panel as well. And then I can put my signatures in, and that's not going to make a problem. And then I'm just going to put liberal amounts of glue here. Really, you know, don't spare the glue, because you want this to be nice and strong. There are other fabric glues that you can use, and I'm sure that they'll all be just as good. It's just that I had Fabri-Tac on hand. Fabri-Tac on hand. The smell of it though, some people like that smell. I just never liked that smell. Okay, so don't worry about this crease in the fabric, because the glue's going to sort that out. So we're going to start on this edge, so we know exactly where we are with this, leaving a little edge there, and just gluey hands. Make sure we give it a really good press down. Give it a good spread out. Get that glue squidged about. There we go. Now we've still got the title. We haven't lost too much of the image, but we've got a really good adhesive hold on that front cover. Now we're going to flip this over and we're going to do the same here. We don't have to put pencil marks here because we can see where our fabric is, and as you can see we've pretty much kept it parallel, so it's not going to be a problem. And we'll do exactly the same on this side. Come on, Fabri-Tac. I'm not even going to bother moving that washi tape because the Fabri-Tac's going to do a good enough job of keeping that nice and solid. One line down the middle and then a good squidge down the side. Now lots and lots of glue down the sides, making sure we cover both sides, and then again lots and lots of glue. Just wipe that off on there. Oh, excuse me, sorry. And then we want to make sure we've got a nice tight bond at the top here. We don't want saggy cloth at the top. Nobody wants saggy cloth at the top, do they? Right, there we go. Just press it down and you'll find that it gives you this nice neat edge. And then the same from this side, you can just give it a little tug as you pull it up, and we're going to line the fabric up. That's it, and there we go. Give it a good push down, squidge about, and again push it up from the bottom so that we've got a nice neat edge here. And there you go. Right, now I'm going to use some pinking shears. You could have torn this the right length before you started, but it's just as simple to do this. And as you can see, you can't really see it, and even if you can, it's a nice pink and sheared edge, so that's fine. And then we're just going to put a bit more Fabri-Tac on here. Just make sure that that's all glued down. There we go. Give it a good squidge out, and then make sure everything is well stuck down, and give your edges just a quick run along, because you want to make sure that it's adhered nice and strongly so that it's going to keep everything together. And there we go. And if you can see, we've already got our cover. Now on this book, some of the books that I've been doing, I've been leaving the edges, little bit of thread, I've been leaving the, sorry, not the edges, the insides, because the illustration pages are absolutely gorgeous. Like on this one, you can see that these end papers, the illustrations on them are absolutely gorgeous. So some of them I've left them like this, but this one obviously I want to cover this, so I've cut some paper. Now if you'll just excuse me while I find the one I've cut. Right, so I've already pre-cut these papers and I've got various patterns, so I'm going to see what works with the fabric. That one's quite nice, isn't it? I quite like that one. That one's nice, and it's quite dark like the fabric, isn't it? I'm not keen on that one because it's too much of a clash, there's too much pattern there. I can't decide, let's think. Okay. No, I think it's going to be this one. Sorry, I put it that way up. Yeah. So really with this, all I'm going to do, you know what, I really want to do it with that. There's actually a slight edge there, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do with this one Yeah, I do kind of like that. I wonder if that one would work. Can't make my mind up. No, that doesn't work. Okay. No, it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So what I'm going to do with this is, I'm probably going to do this off camera. I'm just going to put some glue down, some adhesive. You don't have to cover the whole back with the fabric. This is, I wanted to show you this way because I wanted to show you what you would do if you were going to leave the end papers in. Like on this one, I've decided to leave the end papers in. So I've covered that so that when the journal is closed, when the journal is finished and everything's sewn in, you can see that this whole part is covered. But you wouldn't have to do that if you were going to put end papers on. So you can just leave it, you know, just bring the fabric down a bit. So let's see, shall we use Fabri-Tac? Yes, we will. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run a little bit of Fabri-Tac. Try and get it close to the edge because you don't want the edges lifting up. And we'll run it over here. All the way down. And then just a little bit. Make sure we get it adhered to this because we want this to be stuck. And it's easy to get pressures about these books and think, oh God, I don't want to start pulling things apart. I've been like that, you know. I've still got books where I'll think, oh God, I really don't want to pull that apart. You're giving them a new life, so don't be so precious about them. And then we're just going to stick this down. There we go. Good squidge about, make sure that glue's everywhere. There we are. Sorry. And then make sure that it's adhered to the fabric as well. Now that double layer of fabric as well is going to give you extra strength, but also this end paper is going to give you plenty of strength to keep this book together. So this book is going to be solid. So don't worry that there isn't enough structure here. There's plenty. You don't need any more structure. This end paper is going to keep it together. And if you weren't using the end paper like this one here, this is enough to keep it together. This book is quite solid, and so, you know, it's going to have plenty of life, and the fabric's going to be good enough to keep it together. So now that this is stuck down, we're nearly done. So I have some little corner pieces. Now I'm not going to put them on now because I want this to dry first so I can check all the edges, but you would literally just pop them over the corners, and then with your little pliers you'll just pinch them down, and then that'll give you a nice finished corner. And when this is all dry, what you will do is you'll be able to feel where the line is, or you could use a ruler if you want. Feel from the top and to the bottom, and then you're going to score that with a bone folder, and then it'll fold more easily. I don't want to do it while the glue's wet because I don't want it to move about. I want it to stay solid for a bit. But that's basically your cover, and that's basically what it's going to look like. You can have your little corner protectors on, and then I've got another example here with the end paper in. So that one's got the end paper, and if you can see, I've just scored down where the joint is, and then that's given you the end paper. So I hope that you've enjoyed this first part of the series, and I'll be back again next time to do the next part. So have a wonderful day everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!